Are we live? Hello, everybody. Good late evening, and welcome to Open Session. So, before we begin, as you know, or may not know, this open session is going to be a little bit different. First of all, I am doing it in the late evening, but also for this particular open session, I want to ask one favor. If at any point tonight something resonates, if it challenges the way that you've been thinking, if it makes you look at yourself a little bit differently, share it. And someone in your life may need to hear it today. And as a thank you, I'm actually doing a giveaway. So, anyone who shares tonight's live stream, and I'll obviously be able to see that you did so. If you're local, you'll have an opportunity. I'll enter your name into a draw, and you'll have an opportunity to win a VIP Body Unlocked ticket to the event on July 26th in Toronto. And also, if you're not joining from the city of Toronto or surrounding areas, you would be entered into a draw to win 3 private calls, coaching sessions with me. So, thank you very much for tuning in. This particular open session is called Redefining Human Performance. Specifically, the invisible factors that shape our performance. So, I'm really excited to speak with you about this topic. And before we get into it, or before we can actually even talk about human performance, I'd like to ask you a different question. What does it actually mean to be human? Because if we're going to redefine human performance, I think we first have to understand the human being who's doing the performing. And I think this is important because somewhere along the way, we've actually changed the definition. Don't you think? Somewhere along the way, when we hear the words high performance, it's like, what actually comes to mind? High performance, an Olympic athlete, a Fortune 500 CEO, an entrepreneur, somebody who's disciplined, productive, tracks their calories, measures their workouts, optimizes their minutes, somebody who performs. And to be fair, none of that is wrong. But I really do wonder, is it complete to say that? Somebody who's really put in all their time, energy, effort, and soul into the thing. Is it complete? Is the definition complete? I really want to, I think it's more important than ever to take a moment in time to redefine. But first, let's get into the language of redefine. To anything, recalibrate, redesign, repossess. To redefine anything that has a re in it, recover, means to go back. It means to take a step back. It means back to origin. It means before. And anytime there is a definition of something, it usually has some kind of a map, some kind of a border. If you are in some kind of a container, a training, whatever it is that you are actively participant in, that you associate with a definition, there's usually this invisible border or this invisible ceiling that is present. It's unconscious. It's not to say that, like, you wouldn't even know it's there. It's a societal ceiling that is present. You do all these things, but is there more? You cap yourself into this definition of what it means. And in this particular case, we're talking about performance. So I ask again, in today's world, when you think about high performance, human performance, think of, just close your eyes, and in your mind's eye, when you think of the definition, just what comes to mind? What appears in your mind? Because today, you and I both know that we live in a world that measures almost everything because we can. And data equals optimization. And optimization equals better performance. Am I right? We can measure our sleep, our heart rate, our recovery, our productivity, our revenue, our followers, our body fat, our reaction time, our performance reviews. We can measure our output, and we've been incredibly good at measuring what we can see. Don't get me wrong, measurement has changed the world. It has people, coaches, professionals, experts, athletes, business owners. It's an optimization tool. Once you know the data, you can know where to go from there, how to build from there. Science has changed the world. Technology has changed the world. We know more about the human body today than at any other point in history. And yet, despite having all this information, more technology, more optimization, more data, here's a question. Why do so many people still feel disconnected despite all this connection? What the F? Why do so many high achievers still burn out? Or world-class athletes struggle with confidence, anxiety, identity? There's a lot of successful entrepreneurs that are losing their health, deteriorating their health, mental health, emotional health, nervous system health, relational health, while building their businesses. Why do so many people feel like something is missing? Should these feelings of disconnection really be present in the definition of high performance, human performance, the epitome of excellence in what you do? Should there be this void of emptiness? Maybe. Just maybe we've become experts at measuring performance without fully understanding the human being who's performing in the first place. And just maybe we've become just very used to that. We don't really think of it. That's the way it is. That's just what I got to do to continue to be excellent. Okay? But here's the thing. Is that there are so many factors now that are present when it comes to the invisible factors that shape performance. Think about this. Can you actually, bottle up and measure courage? Is that something that you can withdraw and put into a lab and identify the factors of it? Courage? What about confidence? Is that something that you can put on a scale? Probably not. What about love, purpose, belonging? Are those things that we can measure, per se? No, not really. They are invisible factors, but these very factors that I'm talking about are foundational. You don't see it, but yet it has everything to do with the person that is performing. You see it on the other side. These are the factors that are represented and something you can visibly see on the other side of performance. You really can't see it, but you can feel love in the way someone makes you feel. Love itself may be difficult to quantify, but the effects of belonging, wonder, curiosity, purpose, belonging, trust, faith, hope, determination, confidence, courage, all these things, fear, even. It could be on the flip side. I'm talking about a lot of positive qualities that are invisible, but there's a lot of negative ones too. Shame, guilt, resentment. The effects of it on the other side are undeniable. Each one of these invisible experiences and qualities change the way that we think. It affects the way we breathe, our physiology, the way and capacity at which we can recover. And we all know how important it is to do that. It affects the way that we connect with ourselves, the way we connect with a team, with our company, the way we perform. So tonight, I do not want to spend our time talking about performance the way we've always talked about performance. I want to ask a different question. And that question is, what if the greatest factors that shape our performance are the ones we've spent the least amount of time paying attention to. And what is the cost of that? Human performance has a lot to do with its output, right? It's production. But I don't believe it begins there. It doesn't begin with production. Okay, you go in and you do a test, or you do something, you produce something. Okay, great, you've produced something. Now how can we measure everything and optimize everything and make that production even better so you can produce even better? It doesn't begin there. It begins with the invisible conditions that shape what we're capable of producing in the first place. And that's the conversation that I want to have with you tonight. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Okay. Imagine you plant a seed of an oak tree. Okay. And from the outside, for quite some time, you plant any seed, nothing happens. Any seed known to man, any seed at all. You plant the seed, and for quite some time on the outside, nothing happens. Nothing remarkable appears to be happening. You don't see branches, you don't see leaves, you don't see strength, shade doesn't happen. There's no fruit being produced. But beneath the surface, everything is happening. Everything. A whole production itself is happening. It's a whole ecosystem. The seed begins to germinate, roots begin reaching downward. These little tiny root hairs begin forming, increasing the surface area that allows the tree to absorb the water, from the minerals and the soil. And there's fungi from the soil. They form relationships with these roots. There's an exchange of nutrients in a way that allows the tree to grow stronger than it ever could. So the soil, the water, the microorganisms, the sunlight, the climate, this entire ecosystem contributes to what the tree eventually becomes. So when you finally see this magnificent oak tree, you're not looking at the cause, you're looking at the result. You're looking at the end result, the visible expression. And that visible expression is evidence of thousands of invisible interactions that have been taking place beneath the surface. So I wonder, why do we think human beings are any different? There's so much celebrated, and I see this all the time. We celebrate everything: the promotion, the championship, record, business, everything, physique, confidence, achievement, the performance itself. And that's amazing. That's why we're here, we're here to celebrate what people have achieved. But those are the branches. They are not the roots. And the roots they're your environment, right? They're your relationships. It's meaning that you've attached to your life and all the things that have gone on underneath the surface. Every foundation is important. And if we don't start there in the future of human performance, then we will still keep producing high performers who are super excellent on the surface. They're so great at production, but to what degree are they producing? What quality are they producing? And what's the longevity of that if we don't look at the foundation and what's going on underneath? None of those things are easy to photograph because you can't see it, but they all shape the outcome. We got to study the roots. So, we are living systems, and I actually want to talk to you about this story. You may have heard it. But this, to sum up this whole idea or this whole thing I'm talking about here regarding what's happening beneath the surface, these invisible factors that are so prominent in the production part of performance, in the human part of performance, in the process of achieving excellence. The question is, what conditions am I creating that allow more of me to emerge? Okay, so this brings me to the story that I want to tell you about. You may have heard it before. When was it? 2012, I think it was. Let me actually check. 2016. It's in 2016, I think. It just said so. So I'm not exactly sure, but okay. The story of Charlotte Heffelmeyer. The woman she was a girl. Actually, wasn't even a full-blown woman. She was a girl named Charlotte Heffelmeyer. She's like a teenager or something. She comes home and finds her father trapped beneath a truck in the garage. She thinks he's working on the truck. She sees his legs out. And just imagine that moment. Okay. What do you do? No time to think, no strategy, no plan. All she had was this moment. There was no like optimization that's happening. A girl just comes home, sees a truck on fire or a gas leak or something like that that's happening, and her father's stuck underneath the truck. She doesn't cultivate, but there's a conditional thing that happens where she is able, access point. We've talked about access points in another open session. Just one impossible moment, and somehow she lifted the truck high enough, pulled her father out, and saved him. And then I think she like saved her family or something after that. The truck was 2,000 pounds, you guys. This is true. This is a real story. I'm not making this up. If you go on the news and look this up, you will see that this happened. And I when I think of this, when I first heard about this story, I automatically thought of like a superhero like Thor. And if you know me at all, you know I love superheroes. And it was just really cool to think that a girl like that was able to activate and access this superhuman strength in this very given moment of time. What does this say? Where did that strength come from? Okay. Everyone is asking the question, how did she do it? How did she do it is not the question. The question is, where did it come? Where did the strength come from? How? Okay. How did she do it? She lifted it up. Boom, easy. Flow state, out of mind, into the moment. What was her instincts? Did she have optimization? Did she need her freaking HRV and all that stuff to do that? No. It was it was intuition, it was courage, it was strength, it was just in that moment. It was where did it come from? Because 5 minutes later, 5 minutes earlier, she couldn't do that. And 10 minutes later, she probably couldn't do it again. So where did it come from? I know that scientists have actually documented these remarkable cases where people display extraordinary strength or endurance in extreme emergencies. So we don't have every answer about exactly how those moments unfold, but we do know that acute stress can dramatically change how the brain and body mobilize energy and attention. So Charlotte's story reminds me that under certain conditions, human beings sometimes access capacities they didn't know were available. Keyword capacities. She had the capacity for it. And when we talk about excellence, when we talk about human performance, when we talk about just life in general, we have the capacity for it. And I want to talk about excellence just for a quick second. This may not apply to everybody, but for somebody who is, achieving excellence in the realm of where they must be and perform excellently, you know, it's a capacity thing, because it's a capacity for doing really difficult things, for solving hard problems, for being in difficult situations, for life abruption. It's a capacity thing. So anyway, this makes me wonder if one set of conditions can unlock extraordinary capacity, what other conditions are shaping our performance every single day? Maybe it's these invisible conditions that our body, our brain, and our nervous system are responding to in every moment of every day. So, yeah, let me know, how's everyone doing so far on this live stream. This one's going to be a little bit shorter. I'm not doing any whiteboard stuff or anything today. But again, to come back to the essence of redefinition and what is possible when we look at things from a different lens. And it's not just when we look at things from a different lens, it's where can we place our awareness so that we can access parts of us that allow us to perform from a solid, not solid, but it's not just a solid foundation, you guys. These invisible factors, they're life force energy. It's solid, but it's also life-giving, okay? It's like you can have a solid foundation and still be producing, but is that foundation still continuously, sustainably, and longevitively, I don't know if that's a word, but is it still producing that same quality? as the roots deteriorate, diminish, and all these invisible qualities are not nourished, then your production is a byproduct of that. I want to bring this to your awareness because I think that it's time to redefine things. How do we know what's possible if we don't question it? The visible life you live tomorrow is being shaped by the invisible life that you're living today. So, where does that leave us? Where does it leave us? If we've explored the invisible, if we've looked beneath the surface and remembered that every visible expression begins with invisible conditions, then we now know, or can not. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know because it's not something that's been in your awareness. But what you become aware of, you can change. What you become aware of, you can give power and energy to. Remember that we now understand the human part, right? It's human performance that we're redefining here. The performance part, it's performance. When we think about the origin of that, it's true, it's expression of truth. To perform at the highest level is an expression of you. It's an expression of truth. If you strip everything down. And as you begin to evolve through your training, through life, through the ebbs and flows of life, through the plans that happen and plans that don't, through relationships, through self-discovery, through love and heartbreak, through health and injury, we also evolve the way we express through our performance. So I'll say this again. I believe that we're here to become more fully expressed versions of who we already are. And that is not present in a supplement or a wearable or a productivity system. It's a deeper understanding of the roots. It's a deeper understanding of these invisible factors, the human part. We're not here to be cold. We're here to express ourselves through our performance, express truth through performance, in whatever capacity that means for you. So, again, if tonight has sparked even one question in your mind, then we've done exactly what I hoped we'd do. Because questions change lives far more than answers do. And if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to invite you into the room. And this room that I'm talking about is Body Unlocked. It is the first of many to come. In-person event. I'm hosting, the first one will be in Toronto, July 26th. I guess I'll leave the link for that, or you can send me a comment, unlocked, and I can send you the details for that if you're interested in coming. This is kind of a prequel to the essence of how this is going to go, but it will be not just talking, it will be interactive, immersive. There will be other experts and guests involved. But the key thing to note about this event is that it is for people who are looking to understand themselves, performance, their body, their relationship to their body, what they know to be true about their body and their mind and their subconscious mind and their system from a different lens. And it's going to be fun. For sure. Okay. So again, a room full of people who are curious enough to ask different questions, who believe that deep down or somehow that human performance is not like just what we achieve or produce. It's about how fully we live. And if that's you, I'd be honored to welcome you. Again, anyone who shares this video will be entered into a draw again, if you're in the city, it's a VIP ticket to Body Unlocked. If you are not, it is a 3-call coaching session with moi. And thank you very much for tuning in to this July 10th open session, and I'll see you next time.